When I say 90s video games, what is the first thing that pops into your head? We've talked a lot about the N64. I think that 2025 might just be the year of the N64 Renaissance. So you've seen the N64 Pi Mini. If you haven't seen that video, you should check that video out. The link is up there. Right up there with the N64 is one of the best-selling video game consoles of all time, the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember, near the end of the PlayStation 1 life cycle, we got the PS1, spelled out, O-N-E. And that was this beautiful little rounded console here that you can also opt to buy this fantastic little monitor with. I loved this thing. I actually used it quite a bit in the car when I was around this age. One of my favorite console iterations of all time is the PS1. And so today, Dr. Mod showed up with something that absolutely blew my mind. This little guy here. What do we call this thing?
It's the PiStation.
This is the PiStation. Now, it's not just a PlayStation, it is also, yeah, it has its own little miniature screen too, okay? Look at this. This is fantastic.
Just when you think this thing couldn't get smaller.
Yeah. I mean, I love the idea of many versions of, now I know that we got the classics, the NES Classic, the Super Nintendo Classic, we even got a PlayStation and Sega Genesis Classic, but they're preloaded with like 25, 30 games at
a handful,
best.
yeah.
All right, so starting all the way back at Atari 2600, we got 2600, 5200, 7800, Atari Lynx, we got PC Engine, which is TurboGrafx, we got NES, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, N64, Game Boy Color, we got Game Boy Advance, we got a bunch of ports.
Yeah, like Doom.
Of course, Doom runs on everything. We have some arcade games here, Arcade Fighters, Master System from the Sega, the Mega Drive or the Genesis, Game Gear, the Sega CD, Sega Saturn, 32X games, more arcade games, Dreamcast games, PlayStation, obviously, because we're playing it on a PlayStation, and we have PSP games. The PSP games, some of my favorite games of all time are on the PSP.